So there is no difference between the cat and you, basically.
The essence is one.
No, I'm not talking of the essence. Essentially and fundamentally, there is no difference except that you have this self-consciousness in you, which probably doesn't exist in the animals, and I cannot make any definitive statement about that, but doesn't seem to exist there. So that's the beginning of your tragedy, the self-consciousness. Somewhere along the evolutionary process, this occurred in man. This self-consciousness separated himself from the world around him and the world within him. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, I think...
you must help me.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah.
I think...
you see, I'm not trying to win you over to any point of view. I have no point of view.
I want to know what you mean by tragedy, because you said that a couple of times. And
misery. Man is living a miserable life. You see.
Like what? I mean,
there is a struggle, there is a pain, there is a sorrow, if you want to use a philosophical term.
Are you talking about misery like starvation? Or are you talking about philosophical misery or something?
I'm not talking of misery, not becoming something. Permanence, you see, is all that you are interested in. You see, the demand for permanence.
It's some kind of mental mistake
happiness
we're
without
making.
even one moment of unhappiness. Pleasure without any pain. So pleasure, the body is not, the living organism is not interested in pleasure at all. You see, because the moment you recognize a particular sensation as a pleasurable sensation, there is a demand to make it last longer. You see, a pleasurable sensation destroys the sensitivity of the nervous system, so it is not interested in the permanence or the continuity of a pleasurable sensation. That's all that I'm saying. So that is why the moment you separate yourself from that sensation, which is neither pleasurable nor painful, but just a sensation, you have turned that sensation into a painful sensation. That's all that I'm saying. It is a pain.
And you're saying the basis of it is self-consciousness.
Self-consciousness.
That's the misery you're talking about.
The division in your consciousness which is absent there in the animals, but this division is necessary for the survival and also for producing one like this. These are the two basic things in a living organism, whether it's a human being or an animal or you see any other form of life, to survive and to reproduce one like that. There, this division is absolutely necessary.
So that means that you're saying that certain kind of self-consciousness is there in you as well.
No, the self-consciousness comes into being when there is a demand
For survival.
For survival. You see, that's all. So I'm not for a moment denying that your belief in God, your belief in political ideologies are also part of this survival mechanism. It's an extension of the same survival mechanism. Those who believe in God, those who do not believe in God. Those who believe in God had a better chance of survival than those who did not believe in God. Like that, you see political ideologies, communist, God knows what other systems of political idiotic ideologies we have today.
What makes you think it is necessary for survival, that kind of self-consciousness? What makes you think it is necessary
It is not necessary, that's all that I'm saying. It
for
has
survival.
become,
For survival.
For survival.
It's not really necessary.
Not
for
at all.
survival. It just happens to be a mistake of nature.
That's all that I'm saying. So that mistake is a great big mistake which will destroy everything. See, I'm not concerned about the continuity of mankind. Yes, after all, mankind is an extension of yourself. Mankind is an abstraction. Because you know that there is a permanence about you and the things around you, you project a thing called mankind and say that must live forever. So what the hell you are interested in mankind? What for? It's a projection of your own demand for permanence.
So
there is no such thing as permanence at all. That's all that I'm pointing out.
Is there no function served by self-consciousness for...
The functions are created by your culture. You see, you tell yourself that you are bored, that you are happy, that you are unhappy. What is there is only boredom. There is nobody who is bored. That's all that I'm saying. Boredom. That's a sofa, that's a woman, that's a man, that's a microphone, that's, you see, a TV camera. In exactly the same way, you say you are happy, you are unhappy, you are miserable, you are greedy, you are this, that, or the other. All that is cultural. Only thing that is valid and living there is the natural anger. You see, lust that is essential for the survival of the mechanism. Those are the two things that are there, that are part of the biological functioning of the living organism. Everything else is superimposed on that. The greed, the jealousy, the envy, the whole cultural nonsense, all the human values are imposed on that. They have not touched anything there. There is such a thing as the world mind, you see. The totality of man's thoughts, feelings, and experiences passed down to us from generation to generation. You have to use that to experience yourself as an entity. You know, what you call you cannot be experienced without the help of that knowledge. So our very existence as an individual or existence as an entity depends upon that. How can you separate yourself from that and say, this is me? In that sense, I say you have no freedom of action. When I say that, I am not saying that there is such a thing as fatality and all such things. You have freedom of action if you want to come here or you don't want to come here. That's all. Even there, I don't know how much of freedom you have. There is a conflict. See, there also.
So you're actually questioning the very idea of there being such a thing as the mind doing some projecting. That's really the response he's giving to what you said.
Yes.
That's the point I think he's trying to make.
But you're not saying that, for instance, Murti is just a figment of my imagination. Right?
See, he doesn't exist unless you exist. I don't know if I...
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
True. The world does not... I'm not denying the world. You see, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the world is an illusion or anything. It's just absolute rubbish to call it the world. Whatever you experience of the world is unreal. So what I'm saying is that you have no way of experiencing the reality of anything except through the help of this knowledge. So even that which we have taken for granted as real is questionable. So don't bother about the ultimate reality at all. This reality, that this is soft and this is hard, is something which cannot be experienced by you except through the knowledge you have. And what is that knowledge? It's memory. What are you? What is man? Somebody asked me. It's just a memory. It's a memory that tells you.
The manifestation of that knowledge. Everything around us is a manifestation of that knowledge.
Don't use philosophical terms. We can use a simple English. You see, we don't want to use the philosophical manifestation
of that knowledge. And that knowledge is.
I'm saying that knowledge
eternal.
is the knowledge. When I use the word knowledge, I mean a very simple thing. The knowledge that you are a man, not a woman. You see, the knowledge that you are happy, that you are free, not free. That is the knowledge I am talking about. There is no other knowledge.
That's the realization. The realization that I am a man, not a woman. The realization that I am happy and not happy. To realize that. The realization of a person.
But is there anybody who is happy? To say anything. It is not there. Nor am I at the same time reluctant to say anything. Not, you see, it depends upon you. You are the medium through which whatever I'm supposed to be saying is expressing itself. I'm not mystifying. You are the medium through which it is expressing it. It has no other way of expressing it. And so you are not listening to me anyways. You can't listen without interpretation. You know, there is no such thing, art of listening and all that kind of thing. You have no way of listening to anything except through interpretations. Is it possible for you to listen to anything without interpretation? And why should you listen without interpretation? That's all that you can do. If somebody says that, you see, that there is an art of listening, that you can listen to things without interpretation, it implies that there is something marvelous is going to happen or some such thing.
How about when you listen? Do you
It's just noise.
You regard it as noise.
The computer is registering everything. You see. It's an automatic thing. You are just a computer there. That's all. You don't want to accept that fact. For centuries, we have been brainwashed to believe that there is something there, that you should not be just a mechanical human being. That you should be this, that, or the other. And the misery or the tragedy of mankind is because of that we have superimposed on that what we call human values. You see. The human values are responsible for the tragedy of mankind because they're all false. What they have done is to create misery, see, suffering. You suffer. They are false and they have falsified you. The question, how can they be false, the great teachers of mankind? They are all false. So this certainty that I have stumbled into somehow is something which cannot be transmitted to you. No power in the world can touch this. No power. It's not a logical certain premise, but it has this tremendous energy behind it, the energy of life. So no power can touch this. No power can contaminate you. There is only one person who can make this obsolete, and that is you, because you will touch life at a point where nobody else touched it before you. So all those who existed before you, all the teaching is false as far as you are concerned. That's all that I can say. So you can't be yourself as long as you want to bring about some change in you. That's all that you are interested in.
How can we help wanting to change as long as it seems to me that every thought we think is an attempt to change?
Change, you see.
How can
That
we
is
help
why
with
it
thought
has
right
created violence there. So you would dream that you are going to have a peaceful state of mind through war. It is an impossible dream. That is why you cannot create a peace around you through war. You cannot create peace in this world. That's period. Full stop. Full period. You have peace between the two wars. So are there thoughts? I question even thoughts. Are there thoughts there? About thoughts. Yes. But you cannot separate yourself from thought and look at thought. Very concerned to know something about thought is there because of the assumption that there is such a thing as thought. I say no thought. What is there is only what you know about thought. I was saying in India, remember I question even the consciousness. Is there any such thing as consciousness? No. You become conscious of things only through what you call thought. Thought is not something mysterious, mystical thing. It is the knowledge about the things. You call that a camera, you call this sofa, you call her a woman, you call him a man. That's all that is there. He and others is because of the assumption that there is an answer to the question. You forget that the questions are born out of the answers you already have. So to me, this question and answers business is just meaningless ritual, ridiculous ritual. I am not indulging in any kind of such a ritual here. I am pointing out that you cannot have any questions. You have answers, you see. And you really don't want the answer for the question you are throwing at me, because that means the answer is in jeopardy. The answer which you have taken for granted is the answer for that. So the problem is not the question, but the answer. So you don't want to let go the answer you already have. So your interest is to throw this question at me out of curiosity, and if the answer confirms the answer you already have, you accept it, and if it doesn't confirm, you reject it.
The answer you already have is what exactly? An idea which I want, of a state I want to be in, and myself to be in that state.
True,
that's the answer.
So
whatever it is.
This state that you are talking about, your state, does not at all exist except in relationship with the state you want to be in.
Exactly.
You see, you want to be happy for whatever reason, that is why you are unhappy. So I really do not know what happiness is like.
In fact, I do not know.
I really don't know what happiness is like, so I cannot be unhappy.
Except I do
That's
not,
all that I'm saying.
I don't even know myself except in relation to that state I want to be.
Exactly.
I have no existence of
So
it.
that is false, and that has falsified me. So what I'm saying is, you see that your very demand to be selfless is the one that has created the selfishness there. Otherwise, you are not selfish at all. As long as you want to be selfless, or you are going to be a selfless man tomorrow or in your next life, so long you will remain selfish. The other day I was saying, if there is no trace of love in your heart, you cannot hate anybody. You can't hate anybody. Only when you have some traces of what you call love there, then there is a danger of your hating somebody. They always go together. That's all that I am pointing out. Yes. So in the final analysis,
in relation to something which you already project.
Yes.
So the problem
you have no
not
way of
being there.
looking at yourself and telling yourself that this is me, except in relationship with what you would like to be, what you should be, what you ought to be, or whatever is there.
It seems that basically these are not even superimpositions because self-consciousness arose before superimposition.
Yes.
So
That self-consciousness is perpetuated through this demand to bring about a change.